DevTool time. We're going to start in about a minute or so we can wait for people to slowly stream in. And yeah, we're super excited to have Phil Haack here today. Let me see. Do we already have people in the chat? We already have a few viewers. That's awesome. And
Yay.
a quick reminder, quick reminder, we have a chat. We want you to interact, write us questions, comments, and we'll definitely try to address them during the stream. So yeah, feel free to say hi and tell us about your thoughts about this show. Let's see. Oh, another thing. If you want to receive information about DevTool times, recaps, all these things, you should definitely sign up. And this is where you want to do it. And you can also add us to your Google Calendar to receive an automatic notification every time we have a new DevTool time show. So here's the link, and also add it to the chat. I hope you're all excited. Yay! Hi, Yana. Adding Google Calendar link, and also where to get all the updates. Nice. Whoop, whoop. Cool. So I think we're all set. Let's start. Hi, everyone. Welcome to DevTool Time. DevTool Time is a bi-monthly virtual event series where we invite awesome developers to showcase their favorite dev tools, productivity hacks, and more. I'm Vanessa Ortiz. I'm the community advocate at SourceGraph, and my co-host is Byung Liu. He's the CTO and co-founder of SourceGraph. And we're super, super excited. Yay. Hi, Byung, sorry. We're super excited to have Phil Haack here today. Let me tell you a little bit about Phil. He has 20 years of experience in the software industry, and he's known as the co-founder and CTO of the Serious Business, and he's also the creator of Abbott. He was a director of engineering at GitHub, a senior program manager at Microsoft, and he was responsible for shipping really great products that pretty much started the Microsoft open source era. So, hi, Phil. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here.
Tell us a little more about your awesome dev setup.
Okay. Well, I should probably share my screen so you can see it.
Oh, look, Abbott is here too.
Oh, hey, Abbott. So this is my setup. Can you see that now? So I have I'm sharing it.
Yes.
Ah, there it is. Okay, sweet. All right, so I have a really large monitor that I really like because I could fit so much on it. And then MacBook Pro, Logitech Brio, Elgato Stream Deck, and I love this keyboard. This is the you can't see that. The keyboard there is the Microsoft like Bluetooth or wireless keyboard. I use a high-tech note-taking system for reminders, which is that pink Post-it on the monitor. And
super.
Yeah, it's very important. That's about it for like the physical space. Ergonomic chair with a Tempur-Pedic seat pan. So ergonomics, very important. I've had a lot of pain in my history as a developer. So I take ergonomics seriously. And you can see that this is an Ergotron desk, which is a sit-stand desk. It has a lever, and you just go lift it up and down super fast.
Nice.
Although just as I was, okay, there we go. Yeah, so that's that.
Is that an Xbox I see on the desk as well?
Yeah, I didn't really have anywhere else to put it, so I've been keeping it here. And it used to be in the living room, and then everyone got tired of it being in the living room, so I just put it in my office.
Got it. Is it hooked up to the monitor? Like, can you switch back and forth between?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I have you can't see it, but behind me I have a beanbag chair, so kind of laying there, and then like once a week, my son and I play a game together. So he's in his room, I'm in my room, and we just play together.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Bonding time.
That's right.
This is great. Do you want to tell us also? You mentioned that the way you work with your partner at a serious business is pretty special. Do you want to go into that as well?
Sure. So I right now a serious business is just two people, me and my colleagues Paul Nakata, and we generally call into a Zoom every morning, around 9, 10, and then just kind of hang out in there all day as a sort of a whole office. It doesn't feel like an all-day meeting, like because generally I don't like having a lot of meetings. It more is about trying to get the sense of telepresence. So he's working on his stuff, I'm working on my stuff. But if we have any questions or want to talk about the day's news or whatever, we're there. And this is kind of a practice I did many, many years ago, way back before Zoom even. I know it's ancient history. But I was at a company called Coders with a K, which is a search engine, code search engine, just like Sourcegraph. And we were LA based, but we had one coworker in Florida, and he would call into a Skype setup that at that time Skype didn't have any sort of automatic answering, so we had to set up an automatic answering system so that it would answer it and then project him on a monitor, so that he had his own desk, and so he was like a virtual employee.
Nice. So you just keep that Zoom room open basically all day with your co-founder?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I usually, we take a break for lunch, and then I usually stop around 3:30 to go get some exercise, and then at night I usually don't put it back on if I do any work at night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you probably have your Stream Deck optimized to be used with Zoom, right?
Yeah. So I have oh, should I stop? Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I can just switch over.
So I have
Nice.
So this button is there it is. This button is the most important one. The little dude running away. That's how I get out of Zoom meetings as quickly as possible, because at the end of every Zoom meeting, there's that awkward moment where everyone's trying to figure out how to exit the meeting. And so for me, I can just hit that button and leave right away. So that was really important. The other buttons are useful: mute, camera, and then control Spotify, which is actually playing right now. So I turn that off.
Nice.
Cool. Great. Do you want to go then into the more digital setup?
Sure. Well, so a serious business, is the company that we founded, and we're building Abbot, and I'd love to show you that, because I feel that Abbot is a really great developer tool. Of course, I'm biased because we are the creators, but it's inspired by Hubot, and Hubot was a bot that was created at GitHub for doing all kinds of automation that starts from chat. And the basic idea is, you're already in chat all day doing all kinds of work. Why can't we bring more of that work into chat so you can accomplish more things? Mm-hmm. And we built Abbot with the mind of trying to shore up a lot of the shortcomings that come with Hubot, such as ease of install and security and like auditing, things like that. So I'll give you a quick demo. I will admit that at GitHub, about 90% of using Hubot was just doing silly things like creating lists and then pulling random items out of the list. So you can easily do that. So you can ask Abbott to tell a joke. But there's some more serious work that we can do. So we have a tweet skill that you can install. So if I go, I have like 2 Slack orgs I use for demoing serious demos, and then our actual serious business, because this one's set up with our real stuff. Whoops. Let me scroll. So here's an example. Okay, I'm trying to hide all the swearing we do. So, for example, Paul, my co-founder, he wanted to tweet something. So first he runs tweet length, and then what he's planning to tweet. So he sees that, oh, it'll fit. And then he tweets it, and then it tweets it from the Abbott Twitter account. And the benefit of this is that we can actually put controls on that skill. So every ability Abbott has is called a skill. So we can put controls on that skill so that, like maybe you only want your social media team to be able to tweet from the main account. And it's kind of nice having it set up like this, because I've had it before where I had the social media account on my phone and I how many times have you accidentally tweeted?
Yeah.
So this helps prevent that sort of thing. And also, when you all tweeted about me on SourceGraph, we used the Slack Twitter app to let us know about it, but then we can use the tweet skill to like it. And so that's how Abbott liked it. So that's pretty cool. We also have, we also have more real workish stuff, such as if I go into my ops room, so you can see that every time I deploy, we get a notification. So skills can be attached to a room, which creates what we call a trigger URL, also effective onto webhooks. So using Azure Cloud Events or Azure something, Cloud Events. I always forget the names of everything. But when I do a deploy, you can see that we deployed a stage, and if everything runs okay, it automatically swaps to production. So, and then it tells us each step. So swap from stage to production started, and then this is the message we are excited about. Swap from stage to production completed. You can see here, it doesn't always, sometimes it fails. I should probably do a better job of highlighting that, because that can easily get lost. But that's useful stuff. And
I was gonna say that's super cool. That we had a similar chat bot at SourceGraph once upon a time that could do deploys like this, but then I think over time we stopped maintaining it. And if I recall correctly, the logic was a bit custom to what we're using at the time. Like if I wanted to use Abbott inside my company, would I go? Is there some sort of plugin system to teach it how to speak to my production system?
So for your production system, you would write your own code. So what I showed you there is it receiving information, and it supports the Cloud Events spec. So Cloud Events 1.0. So if you're using Amazon or you're using Azure or Google Cloud, I assume they all support this event, then you can set up these events and have them notify. We have one deploy skill, but that uses the GitHub deploy API. And that one is, we don't do the actual deployment. We trigger the deployment through GitHub. You have to set up, the other half of it, right?
Okay, got it.
Let's build I'll build a quick skill to just kind of show you. This is the website. You log in with your Slack account, or we also support Discord. But we'll create a skill called SourceGraph.
Yay!
And then hello. I can say we already have the code in here. I'm gonna have we also have
JavaScript that you're writing.
This is C#.
Oh, C#. Okay. Await keyword.
We also support Python and what was the compilation error?
Oh, it's cool that you got the red line for the compilation error there.
Yeah.
I wanted to show compilation errors because that's useful, right? But I think you could see that we give you full IntelliSense as well, so you can kind of
awesome.
Do all that. So
how are you getting that IntelliSense? Is this some magic web-based editor?
Yeah. So what we did is we implemented Mirror Sharp, which is built on top of CodeMirror for the C#. And Mirror Sharp talks to Roslyn over a WebSocket. And so the benefit of that is we get the full Roslyn IntelliSense. And then for JavaScript and Python, it's it's CodeMirror, and we're working on Unfortunately, the editing experience for those isn't as nice as it is for C#, but we're working to improve that. But that's all it takes for. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. So if I say Abbott source graph, hello source graph. This will be done because I think the source graph's already in the skill. Hello source graph. Yay! So,
Oh, hello.
The really cool thing, though, what we're trying to do here is we want to have a whole catalog of skills that others have written. So let me find one useful. Because a lot of times, like with Hubot, like you find these skills in these repos and you have to figure out how to deploy them. Yeah. But like I wrote this TZ skills for time zones. So I can click here, I can install it. You can review the code before it installs. And then I create a skill from that package.
Yeah.
So in basically in a couple steps, now I can go in back to serious demos and say, Abbott, what time? Give me the time zone, or use the time zone skill for 2:30 p.m. for me, Paul, Bizarro Paul.
Who's Bizarro Paul?
Test user.
Okay.
Oh, and he's in where? Kathmandu. Nice.
Nice. So you can see here that like if I was to schedule a 2:30 p.m. meeting for me and these two people, that would be at 3:15 a.m. for Paul. So maybe I want to reschedule that. Now, I know that you'd mentioned like it'd be great if I could automatically suggest a time, and we don't have anything like that yet, but that's the kind of thing we want to have available for people.
Yeah, that's super slick.
But this is already great because, I mean, now that companies are basically all remote first, this is extremely useful to, coordinate meetings with your colleagues from all over the world.
Yeah, and this particular skill, we had it with Hubot, and it was written by a colleague of mine named Marcus, and so I just basically stole his idea and ported it over to C# and put it into Abbott. But the nice thing is, like, it's really, like I mentioned, it's really easy to write a new skill. Create here. And if I knew Python, I could write one in Python.
Awesome. So what kind of tools do you use then to, work on Abbott and all the other cool things?
Probably the main tool that I use is Writer, which is a full-featured IDE. I also use code at times, but I found for working like with C#, something like Writer is great. When I was on Windows, I would use Visual Studio, but I have after joining GitHub, I got moved over to the Mac world, and so I've kind of gotten used to using a Mac. Although I think I may have mentioned this before to folks that I feel like a tourist in a strange land when I'm using a Mac still. But for the most part, something like Writer is really great. I mean, it has great IntelliSense refactoring tools, unit testing built in.
Yeah.
It does a lot.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Are there any like cool features in Writer that you really like and use a lot of?
Probably. Well, I really like their unit testing dialog here. So I can run and cover all my unit tests, and then probably the refactorings. Like if I wanted to, I shouldn't do this. Let's see. Oh, actually. So I just hit F12 on that, and it just went right into a library, and I can step into libraries that I'm using, so third-party dependencies. That is probably one of my favorite things because normally you only step through your own code, but once in a while I really need to step through like the code of the third parties I'm using, and I can just hit F12 and then set a breakpoint and then step through it. That is really cool.
Yeah, that's magic.
And then okay, here's one of my properties, right? So I can hit, I always forget the shortcut for this, but actually if I just name this messages, and then I can hit Alt-Enter and apply rename refactoring, and it's gonna rename it everywhere. And now I'm going to
That's awesome.
I'm going to regret this change doing this live, but
Yeah, we're gonna break Abbott.
There are a lot of invocations of the message getter.
Yeah. So as long as I don't deploy this, I'm okay. Here, let's change that back before. The good news is I'm also, so another tool I really like is GitHub Desktop. Again, I'm a little biased because I worked on this product, but it really is a great Git client. And I have all my changes here. The main thing I like about this is its ability to create, commit messages, like using partial commits, because I'm really big about crafting my commits to be sort of logically consistent. I don't like to have a bunch of unrelated changes in my commits. In part, mainly because of what is it called? The Git bisect, which I can talk about later if you're interested. But Git bisect is such a powerful tool that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, how do you bisect in desktop? So like bisect is how you locate the commit that yielded a bug, right? You basically do this binary search.
Yeah. So unfortunately, desktop doesn't have Git bisect. So desktop and a lot of these clients aren't necessarily intended to fully replace the command line.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that. But I always think of it as an augmented thing. So for example, if here's my shell, I'm in a repo and I'm like, oh, I want to create a commit, but I want to do a partial commit, or I want to commit specific things. I can just do GitHub dot, and if it wasn't already open, it would open it to that repo.
Yeah.
And then I can, so my workflow is very hybrid of using the GUI for what it's good at, and then using the command line for what it's good at.
Yeah.
So for example, I use the command line for interactive rebase when I'm reordering commits, and I use the command line for, I also have a lot of Git aliases that I use to make me a lot more efficient when I'm using Git.
Nice. Can you show off some of those aliases?
Absolutely. So let's see. I have a bunch of changes here. I don't want to lose them. So git save is a pretty obvious one. So that just creates a what I call save point commit with all my changes.
Yeah.
I could have stashed them. I like doing full commits because it just fits my mental model. I can always get back to my state by just doing git undo, and that just resets everything back into the working directory. So you can see all my changes. So, so I'll do that a lot. So for example, git save, let me look at my branch.
So git undo just resets past the like last commit and adds that to
just the last commit.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so let's say I'm here on main and git add -a, git cm. Oh, so git cm is a common one. I didn't create that one, but for creating a commit with a message.
Yep.
So like here I have this commit on main, and you can see here that it's one commit ahead of what's on the origin. But I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to commit to main. I know that good developers never make mistakes, but I make mistakes all the time. So what I can do is git migrate test branch. And now if I go back to here, I can see that I'm on test branch, but if I go back to main has been reset back to origin. So it's a way of sort of like taking like those changes and creating a branch from them, and then putting your main branch back in order. Yeah. And then I have one that I can't really show well because I would need to merge something to main, but I could. But so git be done is my fancy one. So what this one does is it switches back to whatever your main branch is, and I don't hard code that. I actually look at what your main branch is. So you can name it dev, you can name it whatever.
Yeah.
It switches back to it, and then it looks for any branches that have already been merged into, and deletes them. So usually this is what I'll run. Like after I merge a PR on GitHub, I'll come back to my shell, run git be done, and kind of clean everything up. So I like that one.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
These are shameless plug. These are all on my blog.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely share that as well in the recap.
And that's all. The way you define those, is that all in like the git config file, or do you have like a script that kind of shells out to?
Yeah, so I use let me just find this.
Nice.
Dotfiles. I kind of stole this idea from Holman, Zach Holman, who probably stole it from someone else, or maybe he came up with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have all my config in here, and there's a script that I run, like bootstrap and then install, to set up a machine, because anytime I move a new machine, I hate everything set up. So I'm a big fan of Homebrew, which is maintainer is also a former GitHub employee or a current GitHub employee, and I have a whole Homebrew setup, so to install like common things, which is this is probably outdated, but it's a good sense of like the apps that I use that I need to have immediately on any new machine that can be installed through Homebrew. So I don't know if there's a brew or cast for Writer, for example. So I should find out.
Do you know how quickly you can get a new machine spun up? Have you done that recently?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, it usually, like, in order to get it spun up so that I can actually start working, like a couple hours, I think. It takes a while to install some of the stuff, but like an hour or two. But then after that, usually it's like, oh, I got a base install, and then it's go and find all the things I forgot to add to this.
Can you imagine a race of like developers trying to who sets up the dev environment the fastest?
Time to
we should create a developer Olympics, right? And that would like the
you
developer
just get a stock machine.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a brand new MacBook Pro or Windows machine. Yeah, get it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
I keep most of my code in GitHub. So as soon as I have a Git client, which now is on every machine by default, like I just need that in an editor, and I can get going.
Yeah, I almost think like we've had a number of folks on the show now who have showed off like Dotfiles or like talked about that first machine setup. Maybe we should have like some sort of aggregator repository where it's like, here's all these like well-known people in the developer world, and here's how they get their new machine set up.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's see. Here's my Git config. Oh, that's I forget which one. Just like these are all my aliases.
Oh wow,
nice.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So the nice thing with this setup is if you like mine, you can fork it, change it up, and then run the script, and now you have those aliases. Or, if you want to just copy, this is a public repo, so you can just copy the ones that you like. And I will admit, I don't use all of these all the time. The ones I use most of the time are the ones you saw earlier. I'm trying to think if there's any other interesting ones. Oh, I have Cobb. Check out -B. I do that one all the time. CP for cherry pick, and
what does -B do?
So that checks out and creates a new branch and then switches to it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Got it.
Right. Yeah. So create a branch and switch to it rather than just create a branch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We can talk about.
Do we
even
still have
have
time? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, and set origin and set upstream. Because I always forget how to set. Set those up, but cool. Anything else you want to see?
Awesome.
Do we still have time to talk a little bit about Postman?
Yeah, we know you had to go, so if you got to go, we can leave it here. But if you have a couple extra minutes, we'd love to see how you use
as long
Postman.
as you're not bored of hearing me talk, I've got time.
Never.
No, this is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Postman, I will admit I'm not a Postman expert, but Postman is great for exploring APIs. So I used to use curl and other tools, or in my Windows days, PowerShell. But the challenge with that is, when you're exploring an API, you have authentication tokens and different parameters you want to try out. And it's kind of hard to save the work that you're doing and then reuse it later when you're using curl in the command line. You go back to your terminal and hit the up arrow about 1,000 times. Oh, that was the last time I ran that command. That's my mode for running most commands in the shell. But with Postman, you can save these collections of things. So here I'm here I have a GitHub collection because I like to, I was exploring the deployment API. So here, I'll run this, and I get the deployment statuses for a repository called Bad Mood. And so that's really useful. So when I was building the deploy skill, I was using this all the time. And then, I also use this to test my own code. So here you can see this is localhost port 4979. So this is when I'm running my code locally, I want to test that the APIs that I'm building are working correctly. I use that. So I use Postman all the time, but it has all these other features on the left here that I don't know what they do necessarily, but I do want to take the time, like mock servers sounds like that could be really useful to me if it is what I think it is. So I'll probably check that out because I'm guessing that's a replay thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing is that, authorization. You can inherit auth, or you can specify the key, or you can store the key in a secret. And so that way,
it's not just floating in your terminal history.
Exactly. Then it's not in your terminal history. I'm pretty big on security, so I try to do the best I can at having good practices.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Cool. Well, yeah, I think this has been super, super valuable. And let's just switch over to here. Thank you so much, Phil, for being part of DevTool Time and showing us your really cool tools.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Yeah, that's fun.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. Got to try out Abbott now.
Yeah, definitely try out Abbott and then give us feedback. If you do try it out and you install it, you can give us feedback through Abbott by saying, add Abbott feedback and then your feedback, and that'll go right to us.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining us at DevTool Time. And again, if you want to be notified about the recap of this show, then feel free to sign up and also get updates through our page. Also, feel free to follow us on Twitter. And yeah, we're really looking forward to our next episode, which will be with Josh Goldberg on May 26th. So definitely stream for that day too. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
See you, everyone.